part of what drew me to On Her Terms, whenever it kind of came through as a theme in conversations, was not just the literal like doing things your way or the way that you want to, whatever your pronouns may be, mine are she and her. So on her terms, it means that to me in terms of like living and creating the weird little life that I desire in this lifetime. But it also spoke to me because of the word nerdy, double entendre, and the meaning of like on her terms, like redefining and actually specifically being intentional about the words that I'm using and also the meanings that I'm attributing to those words. And I'm not sure if this will just be one message or maybe a series of messages, and we can do like walk through defining and redefining a lot of different terms. But for this message, at least, I just wanted to give you one specific example so that you can take this assignment, if you so choose, and have fun with applying it in your life. Okay, so the word of the day is presence. I feel like I'm now leading a spelling bee. Presence. It's a noun. But what does it mean to you? And I mean it. I'm actually asking you like to really actively engage and think about, what does presence mean to you? For example, I had a client once upon a time, you know who you are, who, like me, has a child, has a business, has a partner who was gone a lot. And she knew that in this season of life, when things were going to be getting a little hectic and chaotic and full in terms of like schedules and logistics and all of that, she's like, but I do know that I want to feel present with my son. And I'm like, okay, what does that actually look like? What does that mean to you? When do you actually feel present? Quality, quantity. What are you actually doing? How do you know that you can check that box? And actually, then in this conversation, which was late last year, I was like, whoa, what if it's not checking a box, but it's like you have a little heart that you fill in, and then, like, doesn't that just feel like good, warm, fuzzy, and true? And thinking about the things that matter to you that you want to plant into every single day that you possibly can, humanly can, and perfectly can, to have like a little list of 1 to 3 things that if you've done one, like, if you have filled in each of those hearts, or like the bucket filling book, there's like a kid's book about filling buckets and stuff. But if you've colored in that heart, you're like, yes, okay, mom bucket full, heart full, because I had, for example, a really sweet bedtime conversation, like, especially with kiddos, there's just so much that they just share once the lights are out and it's just you and them. A good bedtime can solve and resolve so much, like no matter what happened during the day, if you felt like you were disconnected or your head was in your laptop or they were at school all day maybe, and then there were extracurricular activities and whatever, it's like that bedtime can be a really sweet time to reconnect. So is it having that sweet bedtime, no screens or anything, it's just you listening and letting them ramble on as long as they need to ramble on? Or is it like with Noe, I love Magnetiles and Picasso, whatever. There's like multiple brands. I love playing with those magnets. That's like the one toy that I actually enjoy playing with and cleaning up. Like I'm not even mad if they don't want to clean up the magnets. It's kind of meditative. You put the squares with the squares and the triangles with the triangles. I love the magnets. But Noe will make it very clear. She's like, mommy, just kind of like screeching, mommy. And she wants me to come sit and play magnets. And unless I really have something else going on, then I'm like, yes, that is a sweet moment of presence with Noe. Or with Bryson, it's usually, he wants to tell me about his games or something that happened at school or whatever. But I know what it looks like to me, and it's not necessarily about quality. And I used to say this at the start of the Naptime Empires conversation. I was like, it doesn't matter to me whether your goal is to spend more time with your kids or less time with your kids. I just want to help you like be your actual self, because if you're spending more time with your kids than you actually want to, you might start to be a grouchy a-hole. I mean, that's speaking for me. If I feel like I've been on, I'm the only parent. Oh my gosh, I can hear the garage door. My husband's home. Like, all right, y'all go talk to daddy. So you can judge me if you need to, but like, I'm not here to judge if you want to spend more or less time. It's not necessarily about quantity at all, but the quality can make such a difference. And so what I'm inviting you to do in this On Her Terms conversation is redefine presence with the people that you love, or with yourself. I mean, whatever. This is your own thing. Choose your own word adventure here. But the point is, if you have a goal of, air quotes, presence, take some time to make it real. I would actually love to challenge you to just go a little bit beyond your comfort zone of listening to this right now and click that link, tap that little link for the private pod comment box and send me what presence looks and feels like to you. And again, the trick is to make it something that's so simple that you can actually fill in that heart every day. Like that is a checks and balances system that you have, because otherwise you're kind of torturing yourself with this amorphous idea or an ideal, but it's not actually real. Even if it's not tangible, this is one way to kind of make it tangible, is to really define it. What does it mean to you? It's going to look and feel differently. What are the actual actions you could take that lead to you feeling like you had presence, you were present, you were a present parent? Because it's those little things that are going to add up today, in this moment, in this evening before your head hits the pillow, where you're like, I do feel like I was present with them today. And that's going to lead to this week, to this month, to this year, to this little season of elementary school or whatever it is, and then to the lifetime. And it's that simple and it's that difficult. But really think about how often people are like, I should have been more blank. But then we just don't take the time in the moment to actually define what are the actions that lead to us feeling like we were. Like, oh, I should have been paying more attention, or I don't know, whatever the things are that you associate with presence. That's what I'm saying. And again, there are like so many words we can play with. Let me know if you'd like to hear my thoughts or my own definitions or my own examples on various things like sparky, creative, wealthy, #abundant. I almost can't say abundant without throwing in like a verbal, cheeky, unnecessary hashtag. Obviously, you can't click it if I say hashtag in the air. But that's what I'm talking about. Redefining these things. Or if it was about like self-care or health or whatever, it's like, what does that actually look like? What is the actual action that you can take that is within your control? No one else's. That is also a key, that it's within your control. An action that you can take today and pretty much every day that's going to help you feel like, yep, I'm going to color that heart in. I did feel present. And maybe it's like, it's this for this child. Like I said, this for 1, this for 2, this for 3, this with my husband, this with me, or in a particular conversation, you want to be present with your clients. What does that actually mean? How do you know that you were? And it might be like, this is silly and unnecessary. Okay, fine. Don't do it. But if you actually care and you have said to in your life, I want to be more present. I feel like I wasn't present. I feel guilty or shamey about whatever. Then what I'm saying is give yourself some kind of rubric or metric. It doesn't have to be written down at all, other than the heart outline, which obviously I'm aiming like an angling for, that I really would love it to know that you were like, I'm going to put a little heart on the calendar because I know that I made that conscious choice to check in and be like, boom, it's presence time. I'm really focused on you, person that I love. It doesn't have to be like really that formal and ruly at all. It's just about taking a moment to have a clear intention tied to an action so that you can actually experience the fulfillment of this core desired feeling, to use Danielle Laporte terms. Okay, presence redefined. And it'll look different in various seasons and various days with the various people. All I'm saying is, if you've got these ideas that are these concepts floating around, it's kind of like the idea of lowering the bar. It's kind of like you've set this bar. You have thrown this label out that you're supposed to be XYZ, but you haven't actually like custom tailored it so that it could fit you and your life and your circumstances. So that's my suggestion. Defining presence. That's our word of the day. Like I said, I would love to see your definition, and I would love to see any other words that you would love to explore here in this conversation. All right. I hope you're having a beautiful day, night, wherever you are, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, technically that was the end of the episode, but since you're still here, 1, I'd love to thank you for spending part of your day with me, and 2, I'd love to ask you if you would take 30 seconds, maybe 60, to leave a rating and review in your podcast app before you tap out today. If you've already done that, it's amazing. Please send me a screenshot so I can thank you personally, and know that sharing this episode with a friend has the same magical powers, and I deeply appreciate both. Also, in case you're listening to the end to see if I ever actually introduce myself, hi! My name is Nikki Elledge Brown. I'm the host and author of Naptime Empires and this here On Her Terms podcast. You can find me around the internet at Nikki Elledge Brown in most places, but what you may appreciate most is actually over at onherterms.com. It's what I call the insider library. It's where you can get inside scoop, first listen rights, email updates every time there's a new episode, and then special insider only bonus content. It's all over in our private feed. Okay, that's a wrap for real. I'll meet you in the next episode.